Hello there everybody, and welcome back. Today I thought it would be fun to talk about a movie that's getting a lot of buzz. Regardless as if that buzz is any good, well, according to most of the internet, that would be a resounding, huge, fat no. But according to me, I'd say yes, it was pretty good. First off, I've been a lifelong Spider-Man fan, and I grew up watching the Tobey Maguire movies, and then I watched the TASM films, and I even watched the Tom Holland films. So I know a lot about Spider-Man, and, well, I catch basically every Spider-Man movie from even the Sony universe, including, yes, Morbius. So this was one that I'd been tracking for about 2 years, and I was kind of iffy about it, but when I saw the cast, I started to get more hyped for it. And yes, if we're following like comics or like the 90s Spider-Man animated series, you're gonna start wondering, Dakota Johnson as Madam Web? Madam Web's supposed to be this crusty old woman confined to like some sort of like spider throne thing, and also she just sees into the future and she just sits there. So how are we gonna make a movie about this? Because I know I was wondering these things. As time went on, Sydney Sweeney was announced for the cast, and I thought, for a second that Black Cat was gonna be in this movie, and then Isabella Merced was announced, and then we got the girl from Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I was thinking this is kind of a weird like lineup, but I'm not hating it. Then we saw a couple like set photos of them in like just like street clothes, which was really the only promotional piece that we had for like, I don't know, I'd say at least a year. And then we got like Madam Web's outfit on like that ocean spray bottle that leaked all over like Twitter. And then we got like the trailer with, the iconic "he was researching spiders with my mom in the Amazon right before she died," which isn't even in the movie, by the way. But I guess that's probably a good thing. And now I'm going to talk about like my opinion on the film. So there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen it and you're worried about spoilers, I'd pause and come back later. But in the first 5 seconds, we meet Cassie, and then we also hear her say Ben. So it is confirmed that Adam Scott is playing a young Ben Parker. And the film takes place in 2003, so it's like we get some like cool 2000s aesthetic and vibes. The film sets them up as both being EMTs, so it was kind of cool getting to see some Uncle Ben backstory, and also, get familiar with this version of Madam Web. And while she's kind of antisocial, and she doesn't really like any of the characters she interacts with other than, obviously Ben. Like, I wouldn't say she hates them, she just doesn't like fit in with any of the other characters and seems to like her personal space. And well, as the film goes on, obviously we meet, Julia Carpenter, or what is the last name they gave her? Julia Cornwall, instead of, Carpenter from the comics. I guess they pulled like one of her middle names or aliases. And then also we get Anya Corazon, I believe that's how you say it. And then we get Maddie Franklin, I believe her name is. And then we also get the villain, Ezekiel Sims, who is, well, this is where I'm talking about kind of, spoilers here. The film opens up with, before we meet Cassie and Ben, there's like a flashback to her mother in the Amazon, and she gets killed by Ezekiel because he's trying to, he's been after the spider that she's been researching, and he apparently can find no other way to get this spider than to kill everybody on the expedition because, villain. But as, her mother is dying, she is rescued by a mythical people called, like, the Spider People. There was, like, a specific name in it in a different language, but I forget exactly how to pronounce it. She gets rescued by these people who, like, run through the treetops, and they know, like, mystical spider voodoo type stuff, and they take her back to this cave where she has, Cassie, but she dies in the process, and I believe this is where she gets her powers, even though it's not, like, confirmed, because her mother, as she's dying, gets bit by one of the, like, weird spiders from these people, and I think that probably, like, went into Cassie's blood, and that's how we get to that. But her powers don't show up until a messed up job as an EMT, like in the first, I'd say, 20 minutes. If all of this sounds pretty jumbled, well, it kind of is, and I'll admit, kind of wondering where exactly everything was going. Like, I was following it, but I didn't know exactly how her powers were working. But she can, like, see into the future, and, like, a situation will replay, and I was kind of wondering how this is, like, helpful, but then it's revealed that this is a sort of spidey sense, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense now. So she uses this in the climax to fight off Ezekiel Sims, who has had a vision of the 3 main girls becoming Spider-Women themselves. And once they do, they kill him, and all of his research in his mind goes out the window, even though, you know, he's the villain and he would deserve this. And Cassie, finally gets control over her powers in the climax, and she splits herself into 3 different people because it's like, thanks to her power of seeing into the future, she can also split herself into participating in the outcomes she can see, or something like that. And she's able to save the 3 girls when, you know, obviously Ezekiel's like, you can't do that. You can't split yourself into 3 people and be, you know, in multiple places at once. But that's actually part of her power. And then the building that they're on all comes crashing down and supposedly kills Ezekiel as Cassie falls into the water. And this is where somehow her vision gets messed up. It's not directly stated, but this is where she starts transforming into the Madam Web that we know, that's confined to like a wheelchair type thing. And she gets like the like visor glasses, and she kind of takes in the 3 girls as her own and becomes like a Professor X type figure. So it's a really unique film. It's kind of jumbled, it's kind of confusing, but I think if you're a Marvel fan, you'll be able to follow it. I know that I was just like a bit confused at certain parts, but it was never enough where I was like, what is going on? It seemed like Dakota Johnson was actually having fun with this role. It was interesting to see Sydney Sweeney take on a role that was kind of had more depth to it, in my opinion, than her past roles. And then also, I enjoyed the dynamic between Uncle Ben and like seeing him as a younger man and actually seeing him in his day-to-day life. I also enjoyed seeing Emma Roberts as, I believe her name was Mary Parker, which is Peter Parker's mother, which we've never seen, really, except for like in flashbacks in TASM. But it's like we got to see her actually be like a character for a bit, and that was cool, and it made it feel a bit more realistic. There were actually a few funny scenes in this film as well, and also some like suspense and like actual like fricked up scenes, because there's a scene where she can see into the future at a diner where the girls are just like having I think it's dinner, and basically she sees them get their like necks snapped, and it was just like berserk. I wasn't expecting it, so it's like it has scenes like that too. But overall, I think it had a unique story, the acting was good, and it was nice seeing another Spider-Man universe film. Yes, there was some bit of bad dialogue, and the villain could have been a bit more fleshed out, but overall I thought it was pretty solid and a good Spider Universe film, with many unique things that they haven't really done in past Spider-Verse films. Well, Spider-Man type universe films, because this is a standalone film, they have confirmed that. So that was also interesting and helping with like the 2005, where like it's not connected to anything else, kind of like how the superhero movies in the early 2000s were before the MCU. But that's about my thoughts on it. Have you guys seen it? Do you plan on seeing it? Let me know what you guys thought if you have, or if you are going to, in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video, and see you guys next time.